So after being on the bright side, let's dive back to the horrible realities. With this presentation of Discourses of Hatred, actually I'm going to speak about a case that was already mentioned a couple of times, the protest against the screenings of the movie Close. And I'm trying to analyze it from the sociology of deviance perspective and more in details from the hate crime studies perspective, because it is actually a hate crime despite being framed as a protest. So I assume know the movie, but still it's a movie from a French director, Lucas Dont, I don't know if I pronounce it right. Very, very celebrated movie, 52 awards won and 64 nominations, including nominated for Oscar, won the Grand Prize of the Cannes Festival, won the Grand Prize of the Lux of the public. So it is a movie that was very, very successful. Yet it is kind of disturbing because it includes suicide and brief, strong language. So it was rated not appropriate for people under 13. You see the way the movie is described in Internet Movie Database. So intense friendship between two 13-year-old boys suddenly gets disturbed. One of them in struggling to understand what happens, one of them commits suicide, basically. And the movie tries to analyze, to interpret the consequences of bullying, of how traumatized teenagers can be from something that for us adults probably doesn't seem that traumatizing. So what happened? Well, the movie was screened on a couple of occasions in April 2023 as part of the Sofia Film Fest, and nothing happened there. Then it was included in the Sofia Pride Film Fest program in June. You see the poster that they used with the hashtag "You are the hero, come to the movies." And then I don't know, a chaos came because people would go to protest the screenings. The first screening that was scheduled for the 10th of June was cancelled. It was ruined. Then other screenings were again scheduled. Some of them did go on, some of them didn't. Very violent protests at the end of June in Varna, and some protests in Plovdiv. So all around the country where there were screenings, it was organized protests against the movie. As I said, it was screened before being included in the program of the Pride Festival. Then it was screened again after June. It was included in the program of a large online platform. So, and I assume you have heard about this movie, you've watched it, so you know there is nothing explicit, nothing that, okay, except of the suicide, but still nothing sexually disturbing. So, who is protesting? You heard a bit from Realita, so this is the right-wing party Возражение. Actually, they were the main organizers. It's a kind of revival, is the translation. But it's also historically burdened this, because this is the great period of our, how to say, it's like the Renaissance, but in a Bulgarian way. This is what the name of this party means. Also Rod, I didn't put it here because they're not really that strong as a voice here. Ultrases, football hooligans, we know that from the t-shirts and from the branded clothing that they're wearing from different football clubs. Actually, I have to say, you know, that there is a great rivalry between football gangs from one and the same city. So they united to protest against this movie. And then we had a lot of people, some people wearing the St. George ribbons. So those are basically Putin supporters, which are very strong voices here on this kind of protest. So how are they protesting? They started in Sofia by blocking the way, first filming people in an aggressive way. So they would go into the faces of people in a very intimidating way, trying to film them, shouting slogans, shouting insults, like pedophiles. They were telling to the people in their faces, "Oh, you're a pedophile," or and a lot of other stuff, of course. But this is the one that deserves most attention, I think. Addressing public figures in the audience in a derogative way, also demanding explanation and again insulting them, intimidating people. At one point they were throwing objects at people, like bottles of water and stuff. A couple of people were hurt, like physically hit, and disrespectful of the police, because the police was there. There was this particularly this, so the woman policeman is trying to stop this guy. By the way, his t-shirt reads an insult as well, let's say. It's a curse in Russian. So why do I believe it is not a protest, not a normal protest, it is a hate crime? So hate crimes, a bit of a theoretical perspective, let's say. Hate crimes are acts motivated in whole or partly by prejudice, negative identification or hatred of particular group of people. So not just the specific person, but there should be a group of people to whom the victim actually or supposedly belongs. So this part for me is very crucial, the last one, because as you will see, okay, at least half of the accusations here and the insults are not true. But still, it doesn't matter. You look like gay, you got beaten because they think you are gay. You look like a gypsy, you got beaten because they think you are a gypsy. Or you look like somebody else, you just, doesn't matter. So those are acts of symbolic violence. Both the victim is the deprived of the persona and made a symbol. And also there is a symbol in the message. And they bring greater harm to the victim, because it's not only the physical assault or the insult, it is, you are being just taken to the out of the boundaries of society. There is a distal effect and multiple distant victims, because people that identify with the alleged group that is being attacked are also actually attacked. There is a disciplinarian and radicalizing effect, and I am really, really focused on that, because it is not only media representation, it is also a performative, it is also a structuring of the society act. We'll come back to this a bit later. So they erode the societal fundament, because they are harmful to the cohesion, let's say. Instrumental function and effect, they're structured and structuring action, and they're borderline action as well. So how are they structured and structuring action? Well, structured action is something that comes from Messerschmitt and then via Perry. So it's an identity construction that combines the action and the social structure. So this act derives from the social structure. It is not a random act. This is something that is already there, and people are being socialized into the norms that lead to this behavior. So Perry, this is a very very famous quote. It's the act of doing difference. So you perform a hate crime to restore the correct relative position given and reproduced by a wider ideologies and patterns of social and political inequality. So basically, if people try to change the way society is structured, hate crimes happen as a response from the people that think that the past normative is the correct way. But it's also a structuring action, and because it creates and recreate the social structure by enhancing enacting the identity. I mean, it is it is an action. So when we theorize it, we always have to keep in mind that it also creates reality. Not only is a product of the reality that people think there is. And why is it a borderline action? I'm not sure this is the right term, but this is how I translated it into English. So, because first of all, it demarcates the borders and cleavages within society. It doesn't happen on random. There should be a tension. There should be a cleavage to bring to this type of act. And also not only to the structures, but also to the internalized structures in the Bourdieu sense, you know, because it's in the habitus that they're personalized or inside. This is not the Bourdieu term, but doesn't matter. So then again, they're an action outside of the norm. This is a bit dialectic here. At the same time trying to protect the norm. So they commit violence, which is not exactly the normative way to act, to protect the norm. And then instead of, they try to achieve obedience, but actually through transgressive behavior. And finally, it sharpens the stereotypes and the definitions. So the boundaries between different cleavages. So we have the justifying interpretations here. I think this is very important. 5 minutes already. Okay. Okay. So justifying interpretations are the phases and logical formulations that are used to redefine the way people act and react violently. To make them appear in the same way as the moral code of society. So people use justifying interpretations to reinterpret their own behavior to make it acceptable. But those are not, as I said, just some phrases or things. Those are crystallized frames that exist in the culture. For instance, violence is okay during war. Violence is okay for self-protection. So there are some moments that violence is okay, and people are using that to justify their own action. Okay, I go to the case of clothes. So how did those guys reinterpret their behavior? I have to say this is a very initial part of the study. I still want to analyze the internet forums and the groups. So this is just from the screenings of the protests that we have from activists. So first of all, euphemistic labeling. So they protest, they protect. I mean, I didn't put videos, but this is not protest, this is not protecting. They're punching people in the faces. Another way of reinterpreting the behavior is by invoking overriding obligations. So they say that they are doing something that is more important than what they're doing now. So defense of the children. This is, in this case, is because the movie is about children. This is the main logical frame here. In the posters, there was "Do not corrupt our children. We must protect the children of Varna, hands down from our kids." So they are doing this. They are hitting the people because they are protecting the children. So this is a higher state moral value. So it gives them the right to do what they are doing. And in the interviews, they were shouting pedophiles and stuff. The interviews, they said that the movie promotes pedophilia and sexual contacts between children, which I again say it's not true. Promotes intimacy in 13-year-olds, and there was this one smarter guy who said, because this was in the last protest, and they already knew the responses of the other side, and he said, one of the boys commits suicide. Is this what we want to be teaching our children? So he said he's there to because of the suicide, which is doesn't correspond to anything else. There is also the reinterpreting the role and responsibility of the person. This is to say that people individually are not really responsible, but as a collective. We don't see it here in the slogans or in the posters. It is there in some of the comments that I read, but still it is seen in the actions. So this is mass action, not just single people are doing it. And the leaders of the gang and the party figures are the ones that are especially vocal and saying what they need to say instead of the people that are there. So reversing the places of victim and perpetrator, the posters, attention pedophilia, the insult that the people are shouting, propagators of depravity, pedophiles, etc. So this is not the people that are committing this violence that are the perpetrator of something that is deviant act, but it is the organizers of the screenings, and those guys are just protecting society themselves, whatever. And there is dehumanization, the Stop the LGBT Virus that Ralica was talking about in her presentation, and the fact, so we don't see people, we just see some viruses, yes, I'm on that. Thank you. And expanding the victim role of the culprit. Just to tell you that in Plovdiv, the police was investigating not the protesters, but how the cinema that was screening the movie got the movie, and how it was financed, and where did they get something insane. Some conclusions. Well, there are obviously very strict differences between the parallel normative orders that are visible in the interpretive frames between the people that were in the audience and that were organizing the screenings and the people that protested. As I said, populist discourse, disrespect of reality. Most of the people didn't watch the movie, they didn't even watch the trailer, they didn't know what is there, but they went to protest because it is a pedophilia spreading movie, you know. Also influence of past events and already formed relationships, and representative frames that are built are consistent and explicit, which means that there are driving definitions and performatives. They're not just, as I said, some words that they are using, and they're subordinate to the values and norms and to the idea of the world that the people have. I don't know if I showed this clearly enough, but for 15 minutes I think this is all you can get. Thank you.